My, my colleagues and I are very happy to welcome one and all of you to our place of study, meditation and dedication. I have a sense of privilege in speaking to you this evening, especially because it is on the eve of a very special day. There are certain days which have a fulfilling power, and each time those days come back in the cycle of the year, they offer to us the same opportunities for fulfillment as they did on the original day when it acquired that importance. August 15th is one such day. It is not out of a pious memory of a great person that we observe the day. In India, we have a very ancient system, tradition of observing certain days. For instance, the Navaratri. The mother says that she has observed and experienced that during those 9 days there is a special presence of the specified powers of the Divine Mother in the atmosphere. Maybe it's only so in India. For other countries, they may have other confluences. Similarly, we speak of Ram Navami. That day provides us with a special linkage with the consciousness that was manifested in the avatar of Rama, and so is the birthday of Lord Krishna, the birthday of Lord Buddha. We do not know precisely the birthday of Jesus, of Christ, but that's another matter. The point is, there are certain focal points in the flow of time which carry an immense power. I mentioned about August 15th. In history, it has acquired a special significance. Some of you are aware that it is known as the Day of Assumption of Virgin Mary. It signifies, among other things, the assumption of matter by the Divine Spirit. It was also the birthday in history of Napoleon, of important battles, and even as recent as the Second World War. We all remember here in the ashram how Hitler had announced in 1940 August that August 15th will be the day when he would bring England to her knees, and the largest concentration of the Luftwaffe bombers were sent to London on the 15th. And on the 16th morning, there was a report from BBC that the largest number of bombers had been shot down that night. When this news was relayed from the BBC, Sri Aurobindo, who was listening to it, a set had been installed in his room. He said, Hitler forgot that it is my birthday. And that was the turning point of what is called the Battle of Britain. So August 15 has a kind of a world muhurta significance. The mother calls it the day of great amnesties. That is, when you are pardoned, when you are forgiven, that is a day when whatever may have been your past, it is wiped out and a clean slate is open to you. Of course, provided you submit yourself to that divine consciousness which manifested through him, Sri Aurobindo, on that day. You tune yourself to him and sincerely try to live a life according to his expectations. The past karma no longer holds you back. That is why she calls it a day of great amnesties. That is tomorrow. There is something gathering in the whole atmosphere. When Sri Aurobindo was there physically, when Mother was there physically, we used to clearly see the change on the first of the month. February 1st, Mother would say, it is my month, and she would distribute sweets to those who went to her that day. It was always, if you carefully scan the letters that have been published so far, you will find people complaining to him that our head is very heavy, we are getting fever. He would say it is resistance. Something is descending, something is coming in the atmosphere. And if you can't tune yourself, there are these small disequilibriums. He was, in spite of his Olympian aloofness of consciousness, he had a very human side. He took note of the smallest detail which anybody wrote to him. He would note even details about food, what vegetable, what one ate, what repercussions it had, and he would refer to it in his replies. The fact that he left this place now 33 years ago does not make radical difference. He still identifies himself in some part with the ashram, with those who are open to him. His vision, his being embraces the whole universe, no doubt about it. But he has a soft corner for the ashram. Mother describes how once she suddenly found herself there in that subtle physical world where he is living at the moment, and she spent 2 days in utter bliss around the 15th of August. She asked him, there is so much of difference between this world and the other world. When will this be there? He said simply, not ready. It is, we are not ready here. And she describes how on the 15th he came here. He was present, but very few were aware of his presence. And describing that joy, that delight, she says, in spite of its intensity, she found something lacking. She found it was not total. He was happy, there was felicity, but it was not total. And she saw that the work here was not proceeding further. So she came back in her consciousness to the earth, to here, and she says, she realized then that his bliss there is maimed to the extent we are imperfect here. It is only in the measure in which things are fulfilled here, imperfections are outgrown, that things change there. This is a very important point, that only the occultists have seen. We always speak of descent, that things from above change things here, but very few perceive that things here can change things there. In one of his letters, Sri Aurobindo pointedly remarks that a strong call of aspiration from earth can evoke a change, can evoke a movement from the highest plane of existence and bring about changes in between. So earth is a key center, and on the earth it's India, and in India it is this place that has been chosen, fashioned and erected as the focal point of spiritual aspiration, spiritual change. We must confess we are not sufficiently alert, attentive to the opportunities that are offered to us here. Many of us are content with the mechanical round of life. We become prisoners of our routine. All our attention is on the next moment, next moment. Moments pass, but there is something that stays. Do we look to it, conscious of it? That is the center, the psychic on which the mother asks us to concentrate. Sri Aurobindo has had to add number of paragraphs to what he originally wrote in the Synthesis of Yoga after the mother came, because the contribution of the psychic for the spiritualization of the human being and his ultimate transformation The key is in the psychic, because it is the only thing in us which is directly linked with the transcendent, with the supreme, without having to pass through the various planes of consciousness. Higher mind, illumined mind, intuitive mind, overmind, supermind, and so on. That is why when she is asked whether everybody has to pass through all these gradations of consciousness, Mother says no. If you have built the psychic staircase, you can ascend directly. But when the question of transformation comes, that is another matter. You have to proceed according to the evolutionary course. But to reach there, in her later days, Mother shifted her emphasis from the descent to the psychic. She said, why bother about the descent? Descent, your attention is always elsewhere, expecting things, looking above, waiting for things. And all the while, she says, the truth is here. Why not be conscious here? Open the door here. And it unveils itself. This is the key. The psychic is the key that she has given. And on important days like this, there is a warmth. If only you become a little aware of yourself, there is a certain warmth. Only you have to withhold yourself from all the feverish excitement of conferences and meetings and seminars. Well, they have their place, they have their role. But they have their role in the work. But who is to do the work? What difference is there between a worker from here and a worker elsewhere? Difference in consciousness, difference in poise. Mother said once, when I asked her something, no experience of the supermind is ever possible unless you exceed your ego. The ego has to go. And the ego will not go so easily. We may think we are egoless. And in the very fact of telling that we are egoless, we are very egoistic. She says that the ego is the cleverest rogue I have met. Disappears, you push him out of one, comes in another form. There is the physical ego, the vital ego, the mental ego, the moral ego, the spiritual ego. I am spiritual, I am superior to everybody. Everybody should respect me. The ego of a sadhak, the most inexcusable and the most dangerous, for it ruins that person first. Whenever anybody starts feeling that he is superior to others, any community, any collectivity starts feeling that they are separate, they are the elite, the chosen people, that's the beginning of their ruin. I have had opportunities to study for 40 years and more, here and elsewhere. And everywhere the seed of decay has come in with this sense of elitism. When somebody came in the 1930s, early 30s, wanted to just join the ashram, he told the gatekeeper, tell Sri Aurobindo that one of the world's 7 greatest men has come. It was faithfully conveyed to him. And he said, this is no place for great people, we are humble folk. And at that time the man had to go back. If we can be humble, we can have humility, we have the passport. But she warns, humility with God, not with men. If you have humility, practice humility with people around, it becomes hypocritical. But with God, natural. She said that the only one humble man whom she met on earth was Sri Aurobindo. And she herself said that her humility was inner. She never showed it outside. She was always imperious, always supreme, always queenly. But she had the heart of a child, her laughter of a child, gait of a girl. No wonder Sri Aurobindo told her that his body was not meant for transformation. But he says, if any body on earth is fit, it is yours, and you must continue the work. And she records that it is because he told her that she continued even after the descent of 1956, February 29. Well, all these thoughts rush in my mind when all of you have come thousands of miles to take one step forward. It is enough if you take one step forward, because always meaningful walks are step by step, not by leaps. Sri Aurobindo himself is a splendid example of an unhurried advance. He was never hurried. I had hoped to utilize this occasion for another purpose, because this morning I received a telephone call from Delhi saying that a new biography of Sri Aurobindo, which has been with them for the last 3 years with the government for printing, is specially got ready for the 15th, and they desire that the book is released here in the ashram. So somebody has sent it with a special messenger by air this morning, and I was expecting this now. I can't speak more about it because I happen to be the author of that book. I wrote it at the request of the Ministry of Information Publicity Division for the Builders of India series. It took me, by Mother's grace, 2.5 months to write that book. But it has taken 3 years for our government to get it ready. It has come to, I am told, 400 pages. And I have tried a different approach. Sri Aurobindo as a man. I have to see how it is going to register. And since it has not come now, I propose that those of you who are free, who would be interested, may kindly assemble here tomorrow at 5 o'clock when there is no other function, and be for about 15 minutes when we can release the book and have a meditation. Tomorrow is the 15th itself. It has been a pleasure, a rewarding exercise for me to exchange my thoughts and feelings, and I would invite you to join us in a 15-minute meditation dedicated to Sri Aurobindo. Thank you.